giving that's your no song? Yeah, they want to hold it for a while to get some. Okay, take it and just hold it and I'll just go through. Irene, I'm going to quote you. Government will do everything in its power to ensure the survival of the Barbados Landship. The commitment came from Acting Minister of Culture, Senator Irene Sanders, who was speaking at the launch of a week of activities for the organization in Hero Square, the city, yesterday. The Landship, to quote, is uniquely Barbadian. It is actually all Barbados, and we intend that it sees another 45 years, probably another couple of centuries. Therefore, we have committed to assisting in whatever way we can. There is no way that we will allow the organization to die, and we're going to insist that plans go ahead, and that a system is set up in the organization to see that it lives on, sadly for itself. The Senator also lauded the country's historians for the immense amount of research they have done on the Landship, which will help the longevity of the organization. If you don't know the history of it, you can't plan for the future. The nation, 2008, 4 years ago, right? When I read this statement in the Nation, and I want to read this because this is the specifics. When I read this statement in the Nation, I was pleased to see once again an official effort is to be made by government to support and perpetuate the Landship movement and intend that it sees another 45 years and probably another couple centuries. Therefore, we have committed to assisting in whatever way we can. The acting minister means well, but her hyperbole, but I have to question what exactly is the intent and what is it that should be perpetuated. Let me be clear. What I see is the essence of the Landship. It is uniquely, if you go to the next panel, it is a unique and original organization that helps to define the singular identity that is Barbados alongside the Chattel House, the Merchant House, the Plantation House, Rum, with the H, the Cane Hole, surprising, and the Donkey Cart. Excellence. That's another story. It provided for the collection of contributions, dues, fines, and deposits, which in turn provided sickness, death, and needed welfare benefits to its members. I want to reinforce the economic aspects of the Landship. It became a crucible for the retention of traditional dances and music forms, which were incorporated into the rituals that established the Landship. 4, it utilized a hierarchical structure based on British naval ranks, but created their own costume designs to reflect these ranks. It provided respect, leadership, and authority in post-emancipation tenantries in which its members were still part of the plantation. 6, it provided a system of discipline for members of the organization, a process towards responsibility, and an example for the community at large to follow. I'll show you examples of that. And 7, it provided entertainment for the communities where the ship set sail. Others may wish to provide additional elements, but these are enough to help us focus on government's intent and how to make the Landship movement belong. The conditions that allowed Landship to survive all these years have changed. People did not see the need any longer to have the protection of the Landship and turned to newer agencies. In the 40s, as a result of the changes that resulted from the riots of the 30s, social welfare policies in public health, general health care, and the growth of friendly societies like the Civic, which started in the early 1940s and had over 44,000 members by the end of the decade. I can attest to that since my own I was involved with that. And it started the erosion of the economic benefits of the Landship. One, the birth and expansion of the Barbados Workers' Union negotiated better wages and conditions for attending to young agricultural workers, providing them with better economic conditions. During the 50s, insurance companies like British American Insurance introduced insurance policy that offered better benefits than the Landship could offer. For shilling a week or essentially British American insurance companies to insure people. In the 60s, the ubiquitous garment industry took many young women out of idleness, and the incomes they earned allowed them better standard of living within households. And that also killed a tremendous domestic industry of dressmaking. And I see in Jamaica it's no longer called dressmaking, it's called fashion design. More importantly, the introduction of national insurance was the final nail in the coffin of the economic benefits of the Landship. Those who joined the Landship when they were youths and were now elders sustained the longevity of their individual ships, but the decreasing number of its membership caused the ships to disappear or consolidate. Some ships from the past were revived. During the late 60s and 70s, when I conducted research on the Landship, it was quite obvious that the movement was having difficulty attracting youngsters. It was also clear, however, that the Landship was indeed the most important institution for black agents, as it contained a body of cultural practices that were unique to Barbados and unique to the world. I should note here that there's a similar organization in Sierra Leone among the Crew people that I argue came from the Bajan Africans who returned to Africa, like here in 1865 on the Great Corps. I don't know if I fully explained about that. A lot of white people in America was trying to get blacks to leave the United States after the Revolution, before the Independence Revolution and so on. And a lot went off to Liberia, and they had made arrangements in 1860, 61, 65, 63 for people, and they said they ain't going again. Some of the found themselves in Barbados, and that was 365, including the story of William Barclay went off to Nigeria. But Nancy could perhaps confirm, Liberia is next to Sierra Leone, and the Crew people straddled the border of Liberia and Sierra Leone. And there's a similar organization to the Landship among the Crew people. And the Crew people were also seamen and so on. So there's a lot of that to be explored fully in the future. It is important to understand that the Landship was one of the first organizations thrown up by blacks. There is no doubt that the leadership within the Landship was also representative of the best leadership in the community. Those Landships that survived after Barbados' independence in 1966 consisted mainly of people who loved the organization and were committed to it. Those people were primarily marshaled by Captain Watson, who will probably go down in history as the last pirate. So what is it we would want to perpetuate and how? One of the major social problems in Barbados, especially that of my generation, is that whereas education provided opportunities for social mobility, that mobility was also driven by the desire to jettison many of the cultural practices of our parents, our family, and our friends. There is no doubt in my mind that the content of the educational system was responsible for fostering on us a value system that dedicated our own contributions. Those left behind had a contemptuous term for for this new poor greatness. Many of the adults in the middle classes would and did spurn the Landship as buffoonery and would join the Lions, Rotary, the JC's, business and professional wisdom, etc. And we're enforcing that over and over. Another such important organization, travel to conventions, etc. I say this to make 2 points. One, these foreign organizations were acceptable to them because they associated these organizations with certain prestige, both in terms of their foreignness and origins, and how their peers regarded membership in them. And 2, the press and media coverage of these foreign organizations throughout the years have been laudatory, while the Landship is often mocked. Over the years, the Landship movement has suffered from the benign neglect in the 20s and 30s, and the movement was ubiquitous and strongly dependent on its own resources. The government of the day was even less interested in its welfare than governments that came later, riding on the back of their votes. Many aspiring politicians saw the Landship in terms of votes and attached themselves to the organization. And I won't go over the comments.